welcome back to another video. I hope you like the intro that I've done. Kind of basic, but I just thought I'd say what I can mess about with and what we could do. If you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. That'd be cool. Any suggestions, any ideas, anything like that, more than appreciated. So today's video is going to be like 3 craziest things that I saw in hospital. They're not really ranked. I guess the first one is, the rest the second one's probably the worst, so they're not really in an order. But yeah, 3 crazy things that I saw in hospital. Let's get started. So, number 1, this isn't in order, as I just said, so please bear with me if this isn't the most exciting one. But basically, I was in the telephone room, which was by the main entrance or the exit to the ward, and then suddenly I hear all of the banging and banging and banging and like feet pounding. And so I have a look out, and there's a patient, a manic bipolar male, who is like in his mid-50s maybe, short little 5'4" guy, bless him. You wouldn't expect this kind of violence and aggression, and he is just running and literally flying kicking at the door. I don't know how he didn't fall. Like, he was like a proper like karate movie, Jet Li, anyone like that kind of thing, like just flying at the door. Foot would hit, he'd land back on the floor, take a few steps back and just keep repeating it. So obviously he was trying to get out. That on its own is not the craziest thing I saw. Next thing, I see a naked lady come around the corner at the top of the corridor, and she comes running with two red high heels in the shoes, with killer bloody stiletto heels, and she's just flinging them at people. And then, you know, one had hit someone or hit a wall, bounce off, she'd run, grab it, and just, she was lethal. It was like a ninja with a bloody throwing star and things. They were lethal. And so that's happening, and then I go, right, this is fucked, I'm off. So I went up towards the dorm to go, basically just hope it was quieter down the end, because it was going insane. And then I see a patient self-harming, so I have to go tell the staff, and be like, I'm sorry, look, someone's self-harming, I need what Liz to deal with, but you need to go handle that as well. There was 2 staff on that night. 2, to handle 3 patients kicking off, 2 patients kicking off, 1 patient self-harming, and another lot just upset from the whole environment. It was really awful on the ward at that point. It's always awful. But the patients were volatile, they were violent, they were aggressive, a couple of them, and it just made the whole place feel kind of intimidating and scary. And there's somewhere that's meant to be a safe place, that's not really quite what you want to give off. So anyway, yeah, so I go and tell the staff, and like I say, there's 2, and one of them's a qualified nurse. He knows what he's doing, he knows the ward well, he knows the people on it. The second staff member is a bank staff member. And basically, if you don't know, a bank nurse is someone who's like hired in externally from like a contracting company to come and do shifts on the ward, basically. So you get it in physical health. It's basically the NHS hire private staff to come and fill in gaps in the staff list or like the rota. If there's staff illness, things like that, or if they know that something's going to be happening one day, they need extra staff in. That's another reason I'll get banking. Now, bank staff can be amazing, don't get me wrong. Some of them, though, are just clueless, and they don't even care. Like, I've seen so many bank nurses just go and sit in the living room or the dining room and just read a newspaper all day. That's their job. They just read the newspaper, read some magazines, they get bored, they ask the patients if it's out to do. Patients go, nope, this is what it's like every day for us, and they all go find another bloody book or a magazine or something else to finish reading. And basically the only interaction I have with patients is trying to figure out if they've got any books, magazines, music, anything they can nick off them to listen to or mess about with to pass their shift a bit quicker. They didn't really bother making any effort to know the patients, to get to know us, to kind of figure out what we're all like as individuals. It was just very much, I'm a bank staff, they're patients, I'm going to take a step back because I don't want to be near them. That's kind of how it felt. Anyway, so if we talk about bank staff, that takes us on to number 2. And this actually is something that I find hard even to think about. It affected me quite a lot, and especially finding out that the girl who was involved has recently died. It's very sad. She was a lovely girl, very brave, very strong. She had a lot of issues, but she fought on. She'd always try and make other people happy, make them smile. She started a project called the Shoebox Project. I think that's it. Go check that out. I'm hoping it'll still be going, even with her passed on. I don't really know the situation with that, but it'd be nice for you to check it out. Her name was Megan. Her mum is a lovely lady. I'd see her a lot on the ward, and she'd always say hello to me and have a chat with me. And that makes a big difference. Just chatting to someone on the ward, it passes the time, it makes you feel like someone actually gives a shit. So if they ever see this, if Megan's mum sees this, I'm very sorry. Your daughter was amazing. And I just hope that everyone around you can make her proud, and I'm sure they will. So basically, this is something that really got to me. And I know it affected a few other patients quite strongly. So I think I was in the dining room and I suddenly heard the alarms going. And at that point, the patient that I'm talking about, she would attempt to kill herself pretty much all day, every day. So they put her onto constant observations. This is where you have a staff member with you at all times. You're usually within eyesight. Sometimes it has to be within arm's reach. It's like they have to be able to touch you with their arm, and you have a staff member with you constantly. Like, as the name is kind of, I can't even think of the word. Suggest. There we go. I was thinking of ingest and supplies, and I knew I had to mix them somehow. Sorry about that. So yeah, basically we all in the living room thought, right, Megan's doing something again. But then it was different. The staff were yelling a lot. Now normally the alarms go off, the staff run to wherever the light's going off outside the room that's flashing. They get a little thing on their pager that'll say where in the building it is, and the other staff that are available on all the other wards and all the other units in that building will be alerted as well. And usually, once the staff have got to where it is, they turn the alarm off and then they deal with it. This alarm kept on going, and so I thought, shit, this isn't good, they need help. And then I heard a staff member yell, we need a crash cart, we need a crash cart. And then so the staff just scattering in all directions, one into the office, one down to the clinic to grab the resus bag. It was awful. And then I see the bank staff member that was meant to be on her constant observations and had been allowed to do this. And to me it looked like she was smiling, and I was so angry at that. I'm like, no, this is not right. You've just let this girl possibly die at that point. I didn't know she was going to be okay. And to me it was like she had a smug little grin in her mouth, and I'm just looking at her like, you fucking bitch, to be honest with you. I was really angry. And then I know a nurse looked at me and she must have seen the look on my face, because she went, Becky, not now. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry, I don't want to cause you problems, but look at her, she's fucking smiling about it. And then the nurse that was, the qualified nurse came up, and he knew me a lot better than this nurse. And he was a lot more relaxed and a lot more calm about things. He'd try and give an impression of order, whether it was chaos or not. He'd try and make it seem orderly to keep everyone calm, and I really appreciated that. And in fact, he was the same nurse that was on with the two staff that I just mentioned earlier. He got the worst shifts, bless him, that guy. I don't know why, it just always seemed to be him that was on when everything went wrong. I think maybe they weren't as scared of him as some patients were of the others, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so basically, they're running, it's pandemonium. I'm getting really upset watching this woman just seem to smile. And this nurse comes up to me, the qualified nurse, and he says, look, she's not smiling, she's scared. He said, take a look at her. And I really looked at her, instead of just seeing what was on the surface, I looked at her and she was shaking. Her head was kind of going like that. And I thought, yeah, okay, she's not happy. She's not happy about this. She's not amused. She is genuinely upset. And that taught me a big lesson about kind of how we all appear different in different situations, how we don't always come across the truth of what we're feeling. I think we see it in life all the time. You smile when you want to cry sometimes. You laugh or cry, as they say. It's either laugh or cry. And I know a lot of us choose to laugh. I make a joke out of my mental health and my suicide attempts and things like that, because it's not funny, but it just helps me deal with it better. And so I want to say to everyone, I never mean offence if I joke about something in my videos. It's never me meaning to take it lightly. It's me trying to lighten the burden a little bit. I guess that's it. And I know a lot of people who have mental health issues that are big jokesters. They always have a grin on their face. They're always, bouncing about, going from person to person, making everyone laugh, making everyone happy. And yet they're sometimes the saddest people. And so it taught me a lesson when I saw that woman who I thought was smiling, and then looked at her closely and saw, no, she's actually in a state of shock almost, I think. And so, yeah, I think we need to give ourselves time. We need to give other people time to react before we jump in and wade in and make our own problem. I don't know. It just taught me a lot about appearances and how people aren't always appearing what they're genuinely feeling. And I guess I knew that already in a more unsafe way. Like, people can pretend to be good people and they're not. I'd never really seen it as I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. So, the third thing, my last thing that I'm talking about today, is going to be a much shorter video than normal. I've rambled a lot less, and I think that's because I wrote some notes down, and so I'm just going off them instead of me just going on my brain and rambling off on all directions. I'm sure you're all used to that by now. So yes, another crazy thing I saw in hospital was the treatment of patients with eating disorders. Kind of random, I know. This was when I was in Middlesbrough. It was a child and adolescent unit. I was 16. I was there 14 months till I was like 17 and a bit. It was a long admission. It was an awful admission. But the staff there were generally quite decent. But the patients with eating disorders, I used to feel terrible for them. They'd come in, they'd be so underweight or malnourished or just not in a good state. And then basically within maybe a couple of days of being there, a doctor's written them up a meal plan. And this is, they have to have at least 3 meals a day, a certain amount of calories every day. They have to have drinks, which is 40 sip, which is like a protein drink with a lot of calories in. And then sometimes if people refuse to adhere to the meal plan, now a lot of people would try, they would say, yo, I can't do that, but I'll try. They would do it, and then they would find it too much. And then sometimes they would end up being forcibly put onto a drip. Now this was awful to see these, usually girls, there was a couple of guys that I saw there with eating disorders, but not many. And they had just, I think the thing for them was they'd lost all control. And their eating disorder for a lot of people is a control thing. It's, I can't control anything in my life, but I can control my food intake. I can control my weight, my exercise, my binging, my purging. And then the eating disorder becomes out of control. And then so you have to find other things to control. And you end up becoming so focused on tiny little things. Not tiny things, but big things become like a small point of focus, basically. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And so sometimes these people would try and pull them out. And that was awful, like, to see these people going through such in a distressed state, feeling they had no control over their life, over their body. Yeah, they, whatever was happening around them, they couldn't control that. A lot of these people were sectioned, so they had no choice to be there or not. They had to be there. And it was awful. I think it was almost quite degrading because they weren't being treated as people with autonomy and who make decisions. And I get they're in a mental health hospital for an eating disorder. They're not well. They haven't got full control. They haven't got full capacity. It was hard to see. And a lot of these people that I knew on there with eating disorders were some of the most intelligent people I've met. They had brilliant brains. And yeah, a lot of them were perfectionists. They always were getting the best grades at school. Perfectionists. And usually that was like a parental thing that had been passed on, or like, my siblings have got this, I need to be better than them, I need to be equal to them, that kind of thing. The treatment of eating disorder patients was horrendous. No dignity, no autonomy. You're eating this many times a day, you're drinking this many times a day, and if you don't, we're going to put a drip in you. And I understand that these girls, some of them, or some of these people would have died without that. And so I'm not saying that it's not the right treatment. All I'm trying to say is that I think it should be done maybe slightly better. The issue I had was that although they were treating the weight side and the nourishment side, they weren't treating the mental side. They weren't treating the addiction to control, the addiction to food, or whatever it was. And I think that's why they had so many long-term patients. I mean, on most wards, you have a lot of short-term patients who maybe stay a couple of weeks up to a couple of months, and that's it. And then they're off. And even that, a couple of months is at a push usually. It's not very often you get patients that are in longer term like that. And some of these girls were in there as long as I was, if not longer. There was a girl who'd been there before I came, and then she was still there years after I left. Poor thing. But I think I had her on Facebook, and she seemed to be doing a lot better. I know she got discharged. She was in an adult ward. She got discharged from there. She was a healthy weight. So, it can be done. It can definitely be done. I've had a lot of friends in mental health wards who have recovered, who've maybe improved their lives at the very least. And I think it's just key to hold on to it doesn't really matter what your illness is, it's able to be changed. You might not get rid of it, you might not be able to be 100% happy all the time. I don't think anyone is, to be honest, but like, you know what I mean, like, you can't just will depression away, definitely not, or like any illness, but it is a thing of the mind, and it's learning to control yourself, I think, sometimes as well. That's something I struggle with. I'm not very good. I don't have good willpower. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. It's as simple as that. It's why I've got addictions, I guess, because if I want it, I'm going to have it. I'm not very good at being like, no, I shouldn't have that because of this. I can think that logically. I don't listen to it. Oh, it's so annoying. Isn't it annoying when you know the right things and you can't apply them? I don't understand it. but it happens. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Drop a comment below. I would love to hear from any of you. I hope you're all okay. Cheers. Yeah, stay cool, stay safe. Bye.